students, this is Rudra sir here, back with one of your English classes. Today I am going to discuss the poem The Felling of the Banyan Tree by Dilip Chitre. Now Dilip Chitre is of course a very renowned writer, filmmaker, artist and all that. He is a prolific writer. He is in fact one of the good writers that we have, Indian writers who writes both in English and in Marathi. Okay, one of the greatest or one of the most popular of modern poets, modern Indian poets that we have. Okay, now this poem is an autobiographical one because Dilip Chitre himself faced such a change from shifting from one place to the other. He was kind of shifted from Baroda to Bombay or Mumbai as it is called today. And so this uprootedness that is highlighted in this poem is very autobiographical. Autobiographical means it is faced by the poet himself, and the poet himself writes about it. Okay, so this is about the poem. It's the background basically. What is the basic summary or the basic outline of the poem is that it deals with a particular time in the family history when a drastic decision was made by his father regarding the demolition of their houses on the top of a hill and the cutting down of a huge tree which had stood for centuries on the same spot. So the poem deals with the drastic decision or a terrible decision taken by the poet's father. Okay, it's there in the poem. That the poet's father orders the cutting down of a very majestic tree which had been there for centuries. It had been there for centuries, and he orders the cutting down of it. And not only that, they shift, and he also orders the destruction of the house, the surrounding houses of the tenants, which are all there on the top of the hill. So he orders all that. So it deals with that. The poem deals with this decision of his father. So the banyan tree is a metaphor for his life and his family's upheaval. So this banyan tree is not only a banyan tree, but it also represents, is a metaphor for the poet's upheaval in the poet's life and the poet's life itself also. Okay, next point is which he highlights is the ecosystem. He says man himself is responsible for the destruction of ecosystem. We ourselves are responsible for the destruction of nature, no one else. Okay, so we are responsible for the destruction of nature. It is we who are to be blamed. And just as in this poem you have the poet's father representing all that is masculine, dominant, forward-looking and destructive. So he is the representation of the masculine, forward-looking, destructive aspects of society. He represents all that. On the other hand, this is in sharp contrast to the traditional knowledge of the grandmother, representing all that is feminine, the past, nurturing of nature, religiousness and conservatism. So she is a very conservative kind of character. She represents all the traditional outlook. She represents the past. She represents close association with nature. So she represents the feminine aspect. The father represents the masculine aspect. She represents the feminine aspect. Next point that is highlighted is the patriarchal versus matriarchal theme. Okay, which is the central theme of the poem. The speaker appears in favor of the grandmother but is helpless to stop the inevitable momentum of progress orchestrated by his father. So the father represents the patriarchal or the father masculine side, the fatherly side, and the matriarchal or the feminine side, the motherly side, is represented by the grandmother. The poet favors the grandmother's side. He doesn't support the progressive attitude, masculine attitude of the father. He supports the feminine aspect of the grandmother. But unfortunately, he is powerless as he cannot do anything against the power of progress or the momentum of progress which is initiated by his father. Just as we are unable to, even if we find that something is going against nature, something is wrong in nature, man should not do all this, we cannot stop the march of progress. Okay, next point. This poem, The Felling of the Banyan Tree, was first published in his book Traveling in a Cage. This is the collection in 1980. In 1980, this poem was published. The name of the collection is Traveling in a Cage. Okay, from there this poem is taken. Okay, next point. The cutting down of the banyan tree foretells the coming environmental problems. Very important. coming environmental problems that we are facing today globally, especially in India, which is used to a lot of vegetation, which is unfortunately now being cut down for industry and population. Now, as you know, with the march of industry and the increase in the population, what is happening? All the wilderness, all the greenery that India is known for. India is known to be a very green country with a lot of vegetation and all that. All that is being gradually cut down. So, what is the result? The result is what we are facing. There's a lot of pollution, there's a lot of other environmental issues which are taking place. All this is because of the destruction of nature. All this is because we are merciless towards nature. We are only concerned with our own selfish needs, and all this destruction of nature is done to get more resources, get more for the population and the industrialization and all that. Okay, uprootedness, as I have written, you can see is one of the themes of this poem. Another one of the themes, leaving the family house. That is the uprootedness which the poet faces. Secondary theme is of ecosystem and their destruction, especially cutting down of trees for profit. Yes, this is one more important thing. Trees are cut down, forest area is cleared for cultivation, for people to stay or some other activities. So all this is destruction of the ecosystem which is taking place. The two themes are joined or linked together, and the poet lays stress on age-old customs and expresses concern regarding degrading of moral values of our tradition. This is degrading of moral values and tradition, our old ancient traditions, our cultures. We are forgetting all that and we are moving on towards further progress and civilization. That is okay, but we are forgetting our old roots, our traditions. We are forgetting all that. So that is what the poet is concerned with, and says that is very wrong. We should focus on our age-old customs which have been handed down from generations. And he expresses concern regarding the moral values, the basic ethics like generosity, kindness, mercy. All these qualities are being forgotten, and man has become merciless. They are hunting down animals, they are killing fish in the ocean, seas. Then you have the forests being cleared, the animals being made homeless. So all this is happening due to man's own selfish needs. Now the banyan tree is a metaphor for family history. In Hindu religion, banyan tree is known as Bata Vriksha, a symbol of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Okay, the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So Lord Vishnu symbolizes the bark of the tree. The bark of the tree is symbolized by Lord Vishnu. Brahma, the roots are symbolized by Lord Brahma. And Lord Shiva, the branches which come out, they are Lord Shiva. So it is a Bata Vriksha in Hindu mythology. So cutting trees is a sinful act as per Hindu religion. So this cutting down of tree, of course, as per Hindu tradition or Ayurveda, you may say it's a grave sin. This is what the grandmother highlights. And in fact, if you are aware, Gautama Buddha himself got nirvana or salvation sitting under such a banyan tree. So trees are regarded or have been come to be regarded very sacred in Indian mythology, and here the father goes in his mythology and tradition trying to be modern and industrialized, and he orders the destruction and cutting down of the banyan tree which is against nature. Okay, now we move on to the line by line text of the poem. Now we come to the text of the poem, The Felling of the Banyan Tree. My father told the tenants to leave. Tenants are people who live in a particular house by paying rent. So the tenants to leave. My father told the tenants to go. Who lived on the houses surrounding our house on the hill. So their house was central. Around it there were many other houses in which the tenants lived. They were told to go. One by one the structures were demolished. Structures means all these buildings, these houses, they were demolished, they were destroyed one by one. Only our own house remained and the trees. So what remained now after the destruction of the houses of the tenants? Their house and the trees. Trees are sacred, my grandmother used to say. Felling them is a crime, but he massacred them all. So trees are sacred as far as you know, the Hindu mythology, trees are very sacred, we worship the trees. Man's close association with nature, this traditional outlook was of his grandmother. the poet's grandmother used to say, the trees are very sacred, trees are very pure, we should not cut down trees, cutting down trees is a sin. But my father ordered the cutting down of all of them, although it is a crime. So felling them is a crime, cutting of trees is a crime, but he massacred them all. My father ordered the destruction of all the trees. The Shioga, the Odumba, the Neem were all cut down. You can see how naturally rich these trees are. These trees are worth a lot of medicinal properties besides their own natural value or environmental value, if you may say. But still he ordered the cutting down of all these trees. But the huge banyan tree stood like a problem. Why it is a problem? It is huge in compared to these trees that were cut down, the Neem, the Odumba, the Shioga, whose roots lay deeper than all our lives. So it's such an ancient tree, its roots are deep rooted into the soil. For centuries it has been here. So it is a problem. My father ordered it to be removed. The banyan tree was 3 times as tall as our house. This 3 times tall suggests the extent to which the tree is not only tall, but in terms of traditionally, how old the tree is, how deep rooted it is, how long ago, or since long ago it has been here. That is what is highlighted here. The banyan tree was 3 times as tall as our house. So compared to the house, another images, compared to the house, the tree is 3 times much more beneficial. So you do the destruction of the house whichever you want, but let the tree live. That's what the poet wants to say. It is 3 times more necessary than that house. Its trunk had a circumference of 50 feet. Just imagine 50 feet circumference. How big, tall and strong the tree was. Its scraggy aerial roots fell to the ground. As you know, the banyan tree sends out roots from its branches. So those branches fell to the ground. From 30 feet or more, so first they cut the branches. So from 30 feet above, these branches came down. So imagine how big the tree is. 50, you had 50 feet circumference. You have 30 feet from above, the roots coming down. So you can imagine how big and majestic the tree was. So first they cut the branches, sawing them off for 7 days, and the heap was huge. Of course, you can understand what a huge heap of wood or timber they could have got by cutting down the branches, because it took 7 days for the people to cut. Insects and birds began to leave the tree. Of course, this highlights the homelessness of animals and creatures when man causes the destruction of nature. Man occupies forest area, man occupies greenery. What happens? The insects, the creatures, the animals, whoever live there are displaced. They are forced to move somewhere else. So this has also happened. The birds and the insects who lived on that tree for years and centuries, they now had to leave. And then they came to its massive trunk, the huge trunk of the tree. 50 men with axes chopped and chopped. So 50 men it required to cut this tree. You can imagine how big and majestic it was. The great tree revealed its rings of 200 years. And when it is cut, you could see those rings of the trees, which helps to determine the age of the tree. And of 200 years. So from that you could analyze and say the tree was nearly 200 years ago old. It had been sprouting since 200 years ago. So how big and majestic the tree was, how a living legend of history, you can call. So the great tree revealed its rings of 200 years. We watched in terror and fascination this slaughter. So the destruction is occurring, but there is no one to stop the tree's destruction. They are watching with terror and a kind of a fascination, a kind of a pleasure. It's a kind of a terrible pleasure that is there. It's a kind of a psychic pleasure in watching the destruction of this tree. So we watched in terror and fascination this slaughter. This slaughter means indiscriminate killing, needless killing, killing of innocent animals is also slaughter. Here the tree is regarded to be innocent. Man is slaughtering the tree. It is an innocent creature as if, and it is being slaughtered. So man slaughtered this big ancient tree. As a raw mythology revealed to us its age. It is a raw mythology, 200 years old. This history seems to be revealing before their eyes. So as a raw mythology revealed to us its age. The raw mythology seems to be revealing its age to us. Soon afterwards, we left Baroda for Bombay. In those days, Mumbai was called Bombay. So from Baroda, which was the ancient home, the place where all this destruction took place, they shifted and they moved over to Bombay or Mumbai, where there were no trees except the one. There were no trees. Of course, Bombay, Mumbai is an industrial city or is a very commercial city, and there you have a lot of houses, a lot of factories, industries and all that, but you do not have trees. So he misses all those trees. No trees except this one which grows and seeds in one's dreams. In his dreams, the poet could see the tree. Which tree? This banyan tree which was cut. It was seething in anger. It was very, very, very angry. It was seething his anger. Its aerial roots looking for grounds to strike. It was as if with its roots ready to strike. Strike at whom? Strike at all these humans who are indiscriminately cutting trees. Okay, and one important thing which is symbolized through this is that nature's destruction, nature's revenge is being hinted at. That the tree is looking for a means to take revenge. The tree is looking for a means to attack human beings and make human beings realize their mistake. Just as you have earthquakes, you have different other destructions like tidal waves, you have other floods and all that, which is nature's fury. Landslides and all that. They are all nature's fury, making man realize what a great destruction he is causing to nature. So that is highlighted here through this part. But one more important thing about the roots is that the house at Baroda was his ancient house. That was the house where he had born and brought up. That was his family house, his ancestral house. That was his roots. Now that he has been shifted to Mumbai or Bombay, he is uprooted. Just like the tree is uprooted, he is without his roots. Okay, he is without his roots. He is kind of uprooted also in terms of his ancestral house and in terms of his tradition. He is uprooted. That is what is also hinted at through that uprootedness, that cutting down of the tree. He was as if attached to nature, he was as if attached to tradition, his ancient history, his ancient family heirloom. He was attached to it. But now he is cut off from there. He is now a rootless character as if in Mumbai or Bombay. Okay, so that's what the poem highlights, this uprootedness of man and how he causes destruction to nature. I hope you have been able to understand this poem as far as I have tried to explain to the best of my abilities. And if you have found it helpful, of course, like and share this among your friends and others, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your love and support.